Oh well. Sorry it took for fucking ever. My mom's getting ready to leave, so try to spend as much quality time, but it could be a pain in the ass sometimes, a lot of times. Hey, when people claim to be a Christian. Okay. what I'm doing is I'm gonna hold on a second. Okay, we're gonna do it like this. Never be alone. What I'm doing, like I was saying, is I'm gonna, like I was trying to say, oh fuck, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Trying to take a good picture with that bullshit out of the way. I'm trying to design it in my mind and then follow the way I built it in my mind. Motherfucker wants some, bitch. Oh no, cunt. I'm gonna slit your goddamn throat, nigger. You eight-legged nigger. He's black, so I have to discriminate. If he was white, he'd be a honky spider. The llamas are white. There's our honkies. I'm gonna do a little walkway though. You fucking nigger. A little bit too cruel. What? Extracting copy. Oh. What? I gotta play some No Man's Sky. Oh, I gotta take a look at this one more time. Let's Lego Technic. That looks pretty cool. Oh, the tank. Yeah. They're gonna go there with the fucking inline shit. Pussies. Pussies. I love the fog though.
And that kind of thing. And so there was never a message. So twice a day, up there for their 2 weeks, they'd have lakeside talks. And these are major talks given by world figures, not just national. Those are talks that you and I have the right to be exposed to because they come from people that affect our lives. We have a right to know what they're saying. I don't care if they get up there and dance naked, you know, I mean, fine. It's the effect that they're having on the rest of us that is what we've been concerned with from the beginning.
Why do you think the rich are so secret?
Because they want to stay rich. It's all about staying rich and keeping power.
Mary seemed to suggest that greed, rather than nefarious rituals, was the true motivating factor for the rich's secretive behavior. Although Mike Hansen was extremely convincing,
the devil has little time left.
To really test out this theory, I had to meet some rich.
The devil has little time left.
To really test out this theory, I
That's
had
a
to meet
lie.
some rich people and gauge their motives. It's really amazing what we can find online these days between hashtags and digital flexes. I met up with a group in Miami who lived a life most of us dream about, but few get invited to see up close.
That's still how the gold is separate. It's like that. There's one piece.
There's one piece.
It's $50.
Sure. Like I came from money. His friend Nick was able to build his own hit Instagram brand, Banger Buddy.
So like my family, like to give you some background, was like upper middle class. Like money was never an issue. Like I didn't have to go get a job when I was a teenager. Like my parents just like, you know, helped me out, or like I had my own side hustles. Like my parents let me drive their car, so I didn't have to buy my own car.
To get below the surface level formalities, I hung out with the guys for a few days to see what they were about. We're gonna go meet up with Nick and Max, and they have a bunch of their friends coming through with really nice cars. And they're gonna drive around their cars, because that's what you do. You get together with your friends and you drive your cool cars around.
Oh, we do this all the time. We do like little mini rallies. So
Yeah,
we'll either
with
go hit
friends,
Hard Rock or
right.
just hit lunch or whatever, meet at my buddy's place on
We'll
South
do like
Beach.
South Beach to Hard
Yeah.
Rock to South Beach, whatever.
Just in a procession kind of thing.
Yeah,
We'll
go,
go, like we'll all get pulled over too. Like, cops will like pull us all over. Like they just don't like us all like rolling in this big old shit.
I mean, a lot of people on Instagram like fake the flex, you know, like this is our daily lives. Like we actually live it, you know. We're not renting Lambos in Miami and like here for the weekend.
Like everyone students we are.
Max not only owned a Lamborghini, he owned two.
And so this is your car here?
Yeah.
This is your Lambo? That's my white minivan, which it's the same color. I don't know if you want to trade off, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Unlike the secretive nature I expected from the rich, these guys were pretty flashy with their money. I went with them to shop for watches that were anything but subtle.
This watch with the rainbow bezel from the factory, $750,000.
Really?
In this case, the least expensive one is going to be the 29 actually. So right now around 170,000. And then over here, to give you an idea of price, 550,000.
Can I hold that?
Of course, I would love to hold $500,000. Most people buy watches and they use its utility, right? It's like,
most people want to tell time, but like,
right.
People like sinking that much money to a watch is so stupid. But a lot of the watches have gone up in value like significantly, and now there's more demand and less supply. It's just gotten crazier. So I'm not like sitting back like with Billy Madison. I love to drink, but I'm not like sitting there just waiting for money to roll in. I'm like putting my money to work.
Can I ask you how much this costs?
Yeah, I just paid $685, but these cars can go up to $1 million.
Well, Max claims these luxury goods are investments. In actuality, it doesn't seem like that.
What happened to we were driving yesterday in your Lambo.
Yeah.
What happened to your Lambo last
It's a little
night?
incident. We saw some photos that looked tempting, so decided to try to like book it through them, and I guess that didn't work out too well.
Are you worried about, the whole thing about these is their investment, resale value? Are you worried about the Carfax report after this?
I don't even know if like something like that would show up, but the Urus, honestly, I'll probably never sell.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those cars that I'm going to keep probably forever, so.
What about this one? Is this
I'm going to keep this one forever, too. I love this car.
Oh, yes.
Unless they come out with another crazier SVJ in the future, this one's a keeper for sure.
I'd like to take it around the block.
Shit. All right. And there you go. Oh, my God.
The car's price tag compared to my salary freaked me out a little bit. So after a few blocks, I switched seats with Max so he could really break it.
it seems like it's a sport for you guys. You guys just
Yeah,
like to make money.
It's fun. I love going to the casino and making last time I was at Atlantis. Last time we were at Atlantis, I was down a lot. I made it all back, and then I tipped so much on my way back. Like I tipped like 1,000, 2,000 on my way back up to like breaking even. Yeah, it's awesome. I want to be able to like, yo, I want to go buy this or buy this house or go on this yacht, like cruise or whatever. Like it's just nice to have that freedom.
And yeah, that's literally what Max did. With the yacht.
Probably like a big, like I'd say like 80, 90, 100.
Yeah, 112.
How much is that going for the 4 hours?
They start around 7K.
Okay. Big, like I'd say like 80, 90, 100.
Yeah, 112.
How much is that going for the 4 hours?
Start around 7K.
Okay.
As we set sail, I realized Mary was right. These guys just want to make more money. But what about power? I wondered if I'd missed something. So I decided to ask Max one more question.
Any future in politics for you think?
No, I don't think I'll ever do anything in politics
Okay.
because I kind of hate that space.
Okay.
And I kind of just like making money and kind of like dodge the politics in a way.
Ultimately, these guys didn't seem too concerned with anything besides, well, themselves. No new world order to be found here. Being rich seemed like a dream. You could get whatever you wanted, and access to money made it easy to make more money. Who gives a shit about world domination when you can just party and make more money? These guys make being rich seem so accessible. And then I thought, well, why can't I be rich? So let's go back. On this episode, how to get rich.
Yeah, baby. That's the thing about this pandemic. It's been one of the greatest wealth transfers in history.
There are now over 200,000 households worth 25 million or more.
On the news, it seems like everyone's been making money during the pandemic except for me. Now that I knew that being rich wasn't evil, in fact it was in vogue, I decided to figure out how I could get rich, and I looked at what I was told using practical investment. Real estate. Surely a small studio apartment in New York City would provide an affordable entry to becoming rich. Hello? Oh my gosh. Hey, yeah. Hey, nice to meet you. Thanks, man. Alright, come on in. Unit 3C.
As you'll see, even though it's a little compact in this way, the space here allows it to have a very unusual and attractive layout. This is a built-in custom murphy bed. All of a sudden,
God damn you.
wow, here we are. Cool. Nice looking bed. Antique tub. You have tubs like that? Yeah. Having a sofa tub is definitely something that's critical in this day and age.
Cool.
So definitely a comfortable living room setup here. You can imagine yourself relaxing here, no question about it. This leads out to our balcony here, which is fully covered. If you're talking studio, kitchen, home office, dining, living room, and sleeping area, at this square footage, because mind you, it is only 450 square feet, but there's an absolute impact.
Now that I'd seen the whole 450 square foot unit, I was prepared to look at my finances and see how much money was in it.
The price of this one is $849,500.
So in order to, the number-wise for this, if I were to have 20, was it 20% of what you need to put down?
So in this building, you are allowed to put 10% down.
So you need to have $85,000. Exactly. Okay. Cool. Well, the apartment had some nice features. Sure. Yeah. Who can afford to purchase a studio apartment for almost $1 million? I mean, this thing has a Murphy bed. Even for the smallest corner of the rich landscape, I needed $85,000 just to start. Okay, cool. My dream of being rich quickly faded and was replaced by a feeling of economic helplessness. As I spiraled out once again, I realized I wasn't alone. Across the political landscape, there's been an almost uniform rejection of the elite class in favor of populism.
You know, when they talk about the elite. The elite. You ever see the elite? They're not elite. You're the elite.
Mike Bloomberg owns more wealth than about 125 million Americans.
The single biggest lie in politics is the lie that Republicans are the party of the nation.
Well, this type of rhetoric is good for getting reelected. The power brokers of our governments don't seem to be in much of a vote, despite the pleas from the struggling masses and the possible repercussions of economic civil unrest. But if the wheels of civilization really started to fall off, would the rich even notice? Maybe not, because they may only be living underground. Okay, once more.
little buttons.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look here, if you'll turn the camera around, I'll open that latch.
Oh, it's a secret latch? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so this... Oh, whoa. Oh, wow. There's more.
Some people have walk-in closets. This guy has a walk-in gun safe.
Cool.
This part of the bunker is the last stand.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if you had to come through that hidden door, close it behind you, and put the latch on, this is where you're going to take your last stand. This will be a surveillance.
Okay.
We'll have 135 cameras around this property.
Okay.
And they'll all be monitored inside this room.
Okay. Okay. How much would a unit like this for 1,500 square feet?
You gotta remember, there's a lot that's going into the electrical input, so, but you're going to be in $600,000.
That's still cheaper than a one-bedroom apartment in New York City. So, I don't know, cheaper to live underground, I guess.
It is. If you're comparing it to New York City, definitely. And
And
it's quieter.
Gary then took me into his office to show some 3D tours of high-end shelters that had already been completed.
Let's go into this one. You'll notice the first thing it's going to do is show us the dollhouse view.
Mm-hmm.
This particular customer, they sent me a map pencil drawing and said, will you build this? And I'm like, absolutely. See these hooks on the You're going to hang a light here. They'll put a pool table out here in the middle of
Cool. What's the most extravagant thing you guys have been asked to put in?
What's the most odd?
Odd? Sure, if you want to use odd.
Horses underground.
A horse stable underground.
Horse stable underground.
That is very cool.
No bowling alley before. This ball retrieval.
Okay, so it's sending the ball back, you don't have to go down again. That's a lot of mechanism.
It's just the bowling alley portion of it will add around $175,000 per project. Done swimming pools before.
Cool. Very cool. What's the most expensive one you guys have done?
It's probably in the $14 to $15 million range.
Okay.
When it's all said and done.
Very cool. People get a shelter for a variety of reasons, right? But what would you say is the main reason? If you
Civil unrest.
Civil.
Protection of civil unrest.
Okay. What exactly does that mean, civil unrest?
Civil unrest will be brought forth by a nuclear attack, an economic collapse. I mean, we're $29 trillion, spiraling out of control. I mean, at some point, checks are going to bounce.
Mm-hmm.
The food stamp cards are not going to work. These people aren't going to sit there and watch their kids starve. They'll kill their neighbors. They can't agree with this.
Right.
I just don't understand what the game plan is. And we're going to understand the game plan because we're not part of inside that pulls those strings and makes those rules.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Perhaps the Bohemian Club and all the other ghost stories about secret societies are missing the point. Rich people don't care about you, or a new world order, or even really status quo. The inferred exclusivity of this group is actually a byproduct from a lifestyle where they can't possibly be bothered unless there's something for them to gain. Whether it's the grove gathering, or mindless materialism, or living underground.
Oh, we got some goodies.
The rich have inadvertently chose to isolate themselves, and this can be problematic moving forward. Because whether they like it or not, money is power. We have power. We must exercise responsibility. Otherwise, at some point, those who don't have power may come for it.
Is a composting toilet? Alas, could you not use it?
Okay. Exercise responsibility. Otherwise, at some point, those who don't have power may come for it.
Is a composting toilet? Alas, could you not use it?
Those who don't have power may come for it.
Is a composting toilet? Alas, could you not use it?
Okay.
Alex looks like hell now. He used to look like a Greek god, but all this stress has got to him, just like it's got to me. Believe I'm not under the amount of stress Alex is. He is under so much stress. He has got the world on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Trying to save it. I don't.
And that kind of thing. And so there was
Like it's got to me.
Skizzle-axe. Skizzle-axe. You guys are dumb cunts. Get over there, nigger. God damn you. Honky bitch. Oh. What? Got to be goddamn kidding me. Fucking nigger honky. What? Ooh. God. Hold on, guys. I need to go. I got... Hold on. When is night rain? Elden Ring Night Rain release date. You fucking nigger. Elden Ring Night Rain. No, nigger. Elden Ring Night Rain release date. Oh. Friday, May 30th. Holy shit, we got about 6 more fucking days. Yeah, 6 days. Holy shit. Okay, never mind. I thought I was gonna have to stop and play in Elden Ring. Ooh. Ooh. Are they lowering the fucking... They need to. Shit. Whoa, whoa. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-bum. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. The fuck? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Oh no, I think I stopped subscribing. What?
crime feels different. Usually,
and that kind of thing. And so that was never our message.
Vancouver black market. Oh, you never get my Vancouver scams. It says scams, you fucking idiot. Vancouver scams. Fucking niggers. I'm gonna kill you. Oh, these motherfuckers. God damn them. Vancouver Vice, wasn't it Vice? There we go, on National Geographic.
This program shows drugs being made, sold, and used. It features graphic content that may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Vancouver, Canada. Rated the best place to live in North America. But the leafy suburbs conceal a thriving drug industry.
God damn you.
Shows drugs being made, sold, and used. It features graphic content that may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Vancouver, Canada. Rated the best place to live in North America. But the leafy suburbs conceal a thriving drug industry. This is flooded with cocaine, and we want to sell them more. We want to make more money. Rival gangs are in a bit of a turf war.
2 men were shot last night near 124th Street.
Three says before shootings in the last 48 hours. Looking for guns. Now the bloodshed's forcing independent dealers downtown. With their killers in hot pursuit. It's all about money in this business. It's all about money. You can't care about other people because you're selling cocaine. It's heartless, and we want to sell more. Drew is a dealer who sells in the wealthy Vancouver suburb of Surrey, just 10 miles southeast of downtown. The trip horse in Surrey is all about product and territory and young guys killing each other. The cops are busting down on everyone a lot more. 10 shootings happen in Surrey. They're going to crack down even in Vancouver. Caught in the middle between gangs and cops, independent dealers. I'm not in a gang, but the Tier 4 does affect us in the sense that, you know, when all these shootings are happening, the cops are busting down on everyone a lot more. We could be out for dinner or out at the clubs, and Gang Squad will roll through and kick us all out. Definitely it affects everyone, even if we're not directly gang affiliated.
God damn it. Hold on, man.
targeted shooting in Surrey overnight. It's the city's 5th incident involving gun violence since Monday evening. It's the city's 5th incident involving gun violence since Monday evening. There has been another targeted shooting in Surrey overnight. It's the city's 5th incident involving gun violence since Monday evening.
The bloodshed's due in part to a gangland power grab. At the end of the 2000s, the gangs running Vancouver faced a reckoning. With most of their bosses either dead, imprisoned, or retired. A new generation of South Asian gangbangers now dominates the city's cocaine business.
5 shootings in Surrey since Monday night. We know of 3 victims.
But there's a new player on the block. The Somalis. And they're demanding a piece of the action.
This is where the latest victim was found. A 28-year-old man from Langley laying on the ground around midnight, suffering from a gunshot wound to his leg.
The man gunned down is known to the police.
Police are looking for the white SUV.
Victims don't want to cooperate, won't give us an idea as to who possibly might have done them, so it's really something you got to piece together.
Corporal Oregar is on the hunt for the suspect's white SUV.
We're gonna head to one of these guys is involved in the shooting, so we're gonna go see if he's home. See if there's anything he wants to tell us.
Fucking bitch. God damn you, get over there.
Gangs are fighting each other for control of a lucrative cocaine market. That could be worth millions.
This is kind of like the divider, so back there is Vancouver, and now we're going to be going into like $1 million home territory here in Surrey.
Guns settle scores between the gangs. Anyone caught in a crossfire is simply collateral damage.
People shooting at each other from different vehicles. The possibility for someone walking down the street or one of those to carry him through a bedroom window is pretty high.
Oregon is part of British Columbia's gang enforcement squad, a crack group of officers set up to counter escalating violence.
You said like 4 shootings in the last 48 hours? So to figure out what's going on right now.
Intel has thrown up a list of addresses for Oregon to check. He's all too familiar with telltale signs of gang involvement.
If your kid doesn't have a job, and he's paying for his own car, and it's like maybe one of these Range Rovers or BMWs, he seems to have lots of money to spare, right? It's not very hard leap to figure out what he's doing, right? Enjoy, boy. Beamer.
Oh, that motherfucker I never looked at, huh?
There's a lot of cars here. I think if they're in here, they're not gonna come. Alright, well, try the back. That's just the garage, isn't it?
The street here resembles a luxury car dealership, but no white SUV. And the house is locked up tight.
Stuff's nailed shut. This is a bedroom. Nailed shut. Yeah. They're not gonna come. If there's like 3 cars and
Without a search warrant, they can't enter the property.
Great, next one.
Across Surrey, other units are also striking out.
Fucking idiot.
The shooting suspect remains at large. Another foot soldier in the army of the tooled-up gangsters roaming the suburban streets. Between March and June 2015, there were 31 shootings.
You ugly little cunt. Get over there, nigger.
Every night, the gang enforcement
I'm gonna slit your goddamn throat, fucking nigger. God damn you.
Independent dealers like Drew
I'm gonna slit your fucking throat. Faggot. I'm gonna cut your goddamn head off. Shove it up in your ass. Fucking cocksucking nigger honky.
Just a throwaway is what we call it. If anything happens, you can just throw it away. You have all those numbers backed up. You stash in your crotch area, under or something, and they can't check that.
To stay off police radar, Drew has changed the shape of his working
I'm gonna
day.
kill these cocksuckers if someone doesn't help me.
Now he sells dope during the morning.
So goddamn serious.
Half gram runs at about $40. Gram 80. I sell a ball for $240. This is gonna be a bit more than a ball here for sure. So yeah, that's 5 grams right there.
Tomorrow is Friday, the busiest day of his week. He's bagging his dope in preparation for the inevitable onslaught.
Yeah, we got a gram there. Put it in these little paper flaps here. I prefer using little baggies. The problem with these is when you're in the club and sweating, the product can get a bit moist.
The police clampdown offers the chance of a higher profit for those willing to risk it.
Prices of cocaine in Vancouver have definitely gone up, thousands of dollars. I remember 10 years ago, for a kilo it was $20,000 cheaper. So it's gone up drastically, and with that, people stop out more, they wait and keep it small if they have to, all low margins.
Hard cash is the only thing.
I've been doing this about 15 years. No one ever says, okay, I've made enough now, I'm just gonna stop. When you first start getting into this lifestyle, it's fun, it's exciting, it's fast, there's lots of money, cars, girls. You know, there's girls that'll pretty much do anything for cocaine. It's an awesome time, but it's a lifestyle. It's you get caught up in it. There's no end to it, and you know, start getting depressed and then you throw guns in there and gangs and it's a mess, man.
In this game, the highs come with dangerous lows.
This line of work definitely messes with your head because it does create trust issues, and you know, a lot of times I don't even trust a lot of my buddies when they come over. You know, I'm worried that a couple bags might go missing because they're partying. And you know, if I was at their house partying, I might grab a bag and do the same thing. I wouldn't steal anything personal from them. It's money chase too, right? Everyone just wants more money. If you have $1 million, who knows? Your best friend will shoot you in the head for it.
He wraps his last bag.
Sad.
This right here is $80.
With the sun rising, it's time to hit the road. In Surrey, there are not a lot of street corner sales. The name of the game here is dial dope.
Selling suburban, you'd be surprised at the amount of people that do cocaine and the kind of people I meet. I meet lawyers, doctors, all walks of life. Young, old. People come up to my car and I would never guess that they'd be someone who's doing cocaine. I've had parents get in the car with their kid to buy stuff. Obviously, I don't feel great about it, but it's the lifestyle, it's the job. I'm not here as a counselor, I'm here to make money. I just cruise around, see one person after the... It's the lifestyle, it's the job. I'm not here as a counselor, I'm here to make money. It's the lifestyle, it's the job. I'm not here as a counselor, I'm here to make money.
Nah, what?
It's the lifestyle, it's the job. I'm not here as a counselor, I'm here to make money.
Okay.
I just cruise around, see one person after the other. This business is all about word of mouth. That's why I like to have the quality at its best. So yeah, everyone just passes the number along. I don't want to serve random numbers, so it has to be a number I know or someone told me that I should be expecting that call.
Just like calling for pizza, users call their dealers to place their order.
Yo. Yeah, what you need? But a lot of them come from money out here. A lot of rich kids. A lot of older couples as well. Just, you know, home together for the night, drinking a bottle of wine, and they want some blow.
But in the interest of self-preservation, Drew doesn't sell to everyone.
Our worst enemy is the police and ourselves. Every so often we'll switch phones. We'll fire a message to everyone. Hey, switching numbers. This is the new number. We'll switch up phones every so often. Keep it safe. Run phones for 3, 4, 5 months.
Drew pulls onto the user's street. The bag is handed over with barely a glance.
What's going on, bro? Nice to last one. Thanks, man. Yeah, you too.
By 11 a.m., he sold all his dope. But Drew isn't content. Working a war zone is getting to him.
It's a rat race, you know. Everyone wants to be the top guy, so you know, when they see someone with a nicer car, and you know, they get jealous. They want that money, they want that car, they want that life, they want the hotter girls, bigger house, nicer clothes,
get over there,
bigger vacations. Who wouldn't want that lifestyle? But they don't see everything that comes with it. You can't enjoy it if you're dead.
Fed up with the...
But they don't see everything that comes with it. You can't enjoy it if you're dead.
Fed up with the violence in the suburbs threatening their profits, some indie dealers are heading over to downtown Vancouver.
Hi, bud. What do you need? Go to usual spots. 10 minutes? Okay, bye. I was one of the first dialer dopes down here. People come from all over Canada to east side of Vancouver to do as much drugs as they have money. It's up to me to catch as many of them up like fishing in a net.
Downtown, the clientele is very different.
Just hold on a few minutes, I don't have something from you.
Suburban dealers have got to adapt to the downtown scene. And that means dropping coke in favor of a cheaper, more addictive drug.
This here is 2 1/4 ounces of crystal meth. I like to pull out the larger chunks and use those for bigger purchases. There's no difference in the high effect. It's just much nicer.
Bad business in the suburbs is good news for Mr. M's crystal meth operation. Downtown drug raids are rare.
The police are focused on suburban violence and shootings and stuff, and their focus isn't so much on us. We haven't had a sleep here downtown in how long? Yeah, almost a year. It's been quite a while.
Other shooting in Surrey, the sound of gunfire ringing out early this morning. The road stained with blood.
The number of shootings in Surrey continues to grow. What began as a struggle between drug barons has become a senseless shooting spree. Gangs are turning their guns on anyone from a rival crew.
So this is bad. This tunnel alert that just came here?
Coming somewhere north, 66, either north or east.
Now we have a report of a couple shots heard from intersection in the area of North Surrey.
A witness reports seeing a light-colored SUV at the scene. Constable Jordan joins the chase.
They love the bravado, and they like being a gangster, and they like slinging dope. It's one of those things that's really attractive to a lot of people, especially, you know, middle suburbia, bored, 18-year-old kids who have something to prove. The intersections, they find of their rival dealers, they get their hands on weapons, and they go ahead and they start shooting at each other. It just keeps going back and forth, tit for tat. You shot my friends, I'm going to shoot at your friends. You shot our house, I'm going to shoot at your house.
They soon spot a white SUV.
That one? Light up on this guy. Go up beside him so he get shot.
Fucking nigger. God damn
In the
you.
Vancouver suburb of Surrey, Constable Jordan stops an SUV, possibly involved in a drive-by shooting.
Were you guys just in the area here, or what?
Oh, no, I dropped off my girlfriend.
So do you have any idea on your...
No, I don't.
Nothing. No idea on you?
No idea, bro.
See how problematic that is here? I don't know who you are. I know you.
The driver is a known dealer. Cops have questioned him before over previous shootings.
Do you have any weapons on you or anything? No, just put your hands up here so I can search you real quick. What was this, like 10 grand?
No, it's 3 grand. My car's in the shop. I'm getting the pictures.
Only 3 grand?
It's a Jaguar, bro. It's expensive, dude.
This is concerning for me because I'm with the gang police. We hear gunshots, and there's a guy who we came to see about gunshot.
And I'm currently in the area. I don't understand that, dude.
Yeah, well, you don't understand that? I don't understand that. All the other stuff, too, okay?
So, do with that. Tell you straight out, bro.
The mood changes. An officer spots something by the car.
There's a shell casing over here, so there may be more around.
Please turn and put your hands behind your back. I'm looking for guns and all that.
Honestly, if you pulled up right beside me like that, you think I'd be stopping if I got guns in?
So you start one side, I'll start the other?
It's not the white SUV reported fleeing the scene of the attempted murder. But it's chock full of incriminating evidence.
Some more phones. Might have some dope here. That's like crack.
There's about 4 or 5 little rocks in there. Multiple cell phones. So all the marks of a dial-a-doper guy.
No guns, but plenty of drugs and cash.
They're both gonna say, this isn't my car. These are my drugs. You found it in the car. These belong to me. Jammed in between the seat, a relatively small amount.
To lay charges, Constable Jordan must find evidence linking the car's occupants to the shooting. The canine goes in to sniff out powder residue, but draws blank.
Come on, motherfucker.
Jordan has to give them the benefit of the doubt.
It might be the case that these people are the victims in this ongoing conflict. One side sees another side in a vehicle that is just around in their area, then, you know, the shots ring out.
The cops seize the money and the drugs, but they have no option but to let the suspects go with a warning.
We're trying really hard to stop the violence in Surrey. The fact that it's happening on intersections, residential neighborhoods, in the day sometimes, crowded areas, man, that has got to stop. You don't have your cash and you don't have your drugs. That's the end of the night for you. Hit the road, man.
Oh, fuck no, we're not doing this
It's a
shit.
victory of sorts. They've gotten a small amount of drugs off the street. The gunmen remain at large.
Piranhas,
free to continue
fuck
their
that.
reign of terror in the Vancouver suburbs.
There's a high probability that some innocent person will get hit. These guys aren't trained marksmen, or this might be the first time they've ever shot a gun, and they're shooting it randomly at some guy they don't like, so the chances of a bullet going stray is very high.
With little heat from the cops downtown, Mr. M is building a drug empire. His crew operates from stash houses, right in the middle of Vancouver's east side. Here, trendy restaurants and nightclubs coexist with Skid Row in one long intersection. Perfect for running street corner sales.
Down on the roll is all the street scene and stuff. They're sort of shaded and broken down and painted. It's all crime, proceeds of crime.
But with the change in clientele, Mr. M and his associate Z are moving away from the corner and getting into dial-a-dope.
Suburban kids, they don't want us out free. They want the quantity, right? Whereas the drug user, all they need is a 20 paper. Mostly on the street, you're selling points. People have it in their head that they're just going to do that little bit. In reality, it's just a big lie to themselves, because they keep on coming back. They buy a point, a point, a point, a point, a point.
The high turnover nets Mr. M 7 times more profit than he gets selling in larger quantities.
People go through thousands of dollars like that in a weekend. I love those $20 paper people.
His crew wrapped the $20 points in flaps.
The flaps are little envelopes that are hard to get fingerprints off of. Every corner store has them for a lotto, right? So they're easily accessible any time of night, and they're free.
Suburban drug users bring something new to downtown Vancouver, a preference for dial-a-dope purchasing. No more street buys in shady corners.
Hello, what's up? That's $20. We gotta get ready.
Dealers Mr. M and Z hit the streets. Their new door-to-door delivery service is already in demand. The spiraling violence in Metro Vancouver is prompting suburban users to head into the city. The drug roadmap of Metro Vancouver
Fucking
is
nigger.
changing.
I used to have the white picket fence in the house. A regular guy lifestyle in the suburbs. But Surrey's a rougher spot than Vancouver is. Like, Vancouver's a playground, Surrey's a war zone.
Steve sought refuge downtown and soon found meth.
That sucked the first time I did it. I was expecting something. Whoa. It took about a week to actually kick in. That was when I realized that I'm not going to do any other drugs. All the other drugs have severe disadvantages. Crystal meth. It lets me do things that I wouldn't normally do. It gives you some courage, I guess. I have a lot more easier ability to talk to people. Once I do some meth, I'll be like, yeah, let's go. Let's go. Yeah. But I'm going to go talk to anybody.
He was hooked.
Being on crystal meth is not an expensive drug. You get more for what you pay for normally, and also the economics of it are substantial. That road bike sold today, a guy's not picking up his phone. That's $900. Really? Yeah.
Steve and his partner in crime, Harley, run a bike chop shop. They steal and modify bikes to fund their meth habit.
These, I have to say, are the ugliest bars I've ever seen. There's a lot of people wrapped up in their drug use that, you know, they've forgotten everything else, right? They've forgotten how to budget. They've forgotten how to make the money to maintain, right? I mean, you have to have a routine.
I'm gonna slit this motherfucker's goddamn throat.
They run their workshop out of Steve's apartment.
Fucking
He is
nigger.
convinced that being high helps him work.
Right. A lot of people that do crystal methamphetamine do tinkering with things, and your mind wants to be busy, right? Right. They call it flailing.
Well, someone that's in a heavy flail has got like this, trying to get things work with the drum tool in his hand, with that in a spray bottle, trying to plug something in.
I'm gonna slit that nigger's throat.
Everything's gonna happen.
Fucking honky.
Harley was just a regular suburban kid hooked on skateboarding, till he dropped what he thought was ecstasy.
I was 17, I'm still in high school, but he told me it was ecstasy in a cab. It was just
I'm gonna slit your goddamn throat, Mojang. Fucking nigger. I'm gonna cut their goddamn throats. Fucking cocksucking nigger cunt.
such a good burn. Yeah. 2 days, I was like, my mom was like, look at my arms so clean. And I'm telling you, I'd be on my skateboard 12 hours straight. I'd come home, it was like soaked head to toe in sweat. I was home with shoes and everything, I was non-stop skateboarding.
Users drink fluid to keep their veins enlarged, which should make it easier to inject.
But every day we still continue to do it.
High, and with the repairs done, it's time for Steve and Harley to hunt for more bikes to boost. But the competition is undercutting them, and Steve is getting mad.
This new generation of kids, they get a $1,000 bike, I sell it for $20. The whole system up. Some people think they can.
But the competition, and Steve is getting mad.
This new generation of kids, they get a $1,000 bike, I sell it for $20. The whole system up. Some people think they can buy a $1,000 bike for $20. Like, what am I supposed to do? I go steal a bike, then I'm expecting to get $500 for it, I'm getting $20 for it? For that? No way, I'm not worth risking going to jail for $20.
It's not a top priority for Vancouver cops to bust meth heads downtown. They have more pressing problems.
A maze of police tape cordons off a high-end section of downtown Vancouver. A double shooting around midnight.
Independent dial-a-dope dealers continue to flood the center. And now the suburban gangs are moving in, bringing the violence with them. Corporal Beauregard gets a call. Another gang enforcement unit stopped a known gang member downtown. They need backup.
They're gonna
search his car.
The suspect has previous counts for gun crime.
I said Kingsway and Sophia. It's gotta be just up here. What's going on? He's come from firearms file, discharging intent.
He's another key player in the South Asian gang scene, needing special attention.
Who'd you hang out with him? He did pass away. He might be out, you never know. No, it's true. He could have gone down.
What is this?
Any drugs in there?
He checked it already. I don't know.
He's gonna double check it and make sure it's super good.
This guy's definitely got a history, so it's worth the check, right? It's connected with some pretty heavy hitters.
But suddenly the suspect starts to get riled. Given his priors, there's no telling where this could go.
I don't understand.
You don't like guys going through your car, or?
Yeah, man. Like this kind of makes you feel like I didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything yet. Got a pretty good history. It's pretty long.
Oh, yeah.
In downtown Vancouver, gang unit cops search a known gangbanger, caught up in their dial-a-dope dragnet.
Car's looking pretty clean.
Okay, we'll cut him loose. You're good to go.
The suspect walks. But the cops continue to keep up the pressure. They look for dial-a-dopers hidden in plain sight among downtown's Friday night revelers, shaking anyone down who looks suspicious, including Mr. M.
I finished my deliveries, and I was gonna call it a night. I was heading home, and I was pulled over by the Vancouver Police Department. They decided to check out what I had on me, and found $3,000, a good quantity of drugs, weapon, and took everything, left me dead in the water.
But that wasn't the worst thing to happen to Mr. M. Without the money to pay his crew, they made a quick decision.
My guys, they bounced ship to go to another dealer.
And things may be getting worse for him.
Male still breathing, lots of blood, not conscious.
A drug deal has turned violent in a city center hotel.
The unconscious male is on the 4th floor.
It's gonna probably be drug related. And units, they're asking for more units now, so.
Oh, then need more units to hold the stairwell to stop people coming to the 4th floor.
It's the same hotel Mr. M is using as this week's stash house.
Just give me 1 second, Lord, appears to be steering. Deep stab wound to the left side of the chest. Could be through the heart.
The cops are banging on my door. When I get out, I thought, what's going on here? Thought I was getting raided. And then I see the elevator, like, no more than 10 feet from me. This guy was stabbed in the heart, and the woman stabbed quite a few times. There was so much blood, I actually thought they didn't survive.
Mr. M manages to get out on the street just before the cops completely seal off the hotel. But his drugs are still inside.
The drug scene's one thing, and violence goes hand in hand with it, but not right there where you work. You don't crab in your own backyard.
He has no remorse for the dead.
Just from 2 deaths over $30, I've lost hundreds. If they were not dead, they would be, getting a good smack upside the head.
You fucking dumb nigger.
Drugless,
Get over there, goddamn
crewless,
you.
and homeless, Mr. M needs to build up his empire from nothing. He must be quick. Users don't do loyalty. If Mr. M isn't back on the scene tonight, they'll switch to the next dealer. And with no cash, he needs to pull in some favors. First on Mr. M's list, get a hold of some drugs. And he knows just the man.
I've made MDMA, meth, GHB, mescaline, 2CB, methylaminorex, a variety of opiates, heroin, dihydroheroin, hydromorphone. Basically, if you can make it, I've made it. A good chemist that knows how to make drugs can make a lot of money given the right supplies and equipment.
Mr. M has used Chef since he moved his operation downtown and switched from coke to meth. He now desperately needs Chef to provide drugs on credit. But in this game, everyone knows their worth.
I would charge a retaining fee that could be anywhere from a few $1,000s to $250,000 for massive super lab, and that amount gets paid up front, and then generally there'll be like a steady payment of a certain amount per day or week after that, plus a certain percentage of the product that is made until the contract is satisfied. And chemists would take 25% of a yield. If you look at a gang as being a business, as a chemist, you're an asset to them. And you're an asset in the same way as an investment would be. I've heard of chemists being bought and sold from gang to gang. There have been instances where chemists have been locked in rooms and forced to work for nothing, to basically being kidnapped.
The prices that cooks command mean they're often the first to be struck from the drug payroll.
You work for them until you have built the lab, have it successfully making product, and train a couple of their people to do it, because they don't want to keep paying you.
Short of a gig, Chef needs Mr. M's business and agrees to help him out. It's been a long time since Chef has run a shake and bake deep in the woods. Meth making with store-bought ingredients is extremely dangerous. Chef knows that this brew could blow at any moment. Chef's shake and bake meth mix is at its most volatile point. But exploding chemicals are the last thing on this pro's mind.
Because of the ease of production with meth, there's a much bigger profit margin because there's less chemical purchases involved, there's less chance of error, there's higher yields, and there's a bigger customer base.
Oh, we're gonna use
the MDMA customer base has decreased over the years down to dismally low levels, whereas meth just keeps getting larger. Everybody's doing it.
Chef is producing 5 grams of meth for dealer M and needs to sell it ASAP. The police recently confiscated Mr. M's stash, and he needs to re-up fast to work his way gram by gram back in the game.
I've got a good name. I've been able to prepare enough to get me slowly started again. Just refocusing my attention on building everything back up again. Slowly testing the waters because I don't have a lot of inventory right now.
Mr. M has got hot product. He hits the streets, searching not for customers, but for a new crew.
I'm hitting angles for the reflections, looking for familiar faces, people I know in the name, other dealers. I'm just following my instincts, the bloodhound.
He's got to surround himself with people he feels he can trust.
Violence has come so close to me where it's killed my wife, my partner, and battles down here. Friends have lost every day almost due to stupidity of drugs. No, who wants to live like that? I don't want to get set up. I don't want to get robbed. There's vultures everywhere. It's a shady business.
He knows the perfect guinea pig to test Chef's meth.
Yo. Hey, what's up? You want to come down to my place?
You want me to come towards Tinseltown today?
That'd be sweet.
I'll be there in like 10 minutes.
Alright, talk to you later. Bye.
Mr. M is close to sealing his first comeback deal.
Now we're on. Alright, he's coming by.
Watched by his girlfriend, Steve tidies up for an important guest.
So, just want to clean up a little bit. Should be here any minute. Hello? Hold on. Good to see you. Hey, Buzz.
This stuff here is from the valley. See if you do a nice shot.
Mr. M brought 2 points of Chef's batch of backwoods meth. No one's tried it yet.
This will definitely work.
It's a risk addicts like Steve are only too willing to take.
I could just take this one. And then I'll come back for a little bit more.
Just choke a nice clean pipe.
Whoa. Oh, that's nice. That tastes good. Really good.
You're smoking
Steve
shit.
loves the product. And his girlfriend does too.
Holy wow.
Every day I'm
With his
hustling.
bicycle venture
Every
hitting
day
the
I'm
skids,
hustling.
Steve is short of cash.
So, how do you want to do this? Go through the books or, for now or for...
Let's do it on the books. And, we'll definitely make it happen, tonight.
Mr. M has a finance plan for trusted customers.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Cool.
The product is now tried and tested. Time to put his new crew to work.
When I start a new guy up, most of the time they don't come with a lot of money in their hands. They need to make money, so they like to work with you, and they need a cut. They need something up front to work with, that way I can sell it, make profit, pay you, right?
But in this new venture, Mr. M stands to gain big time.
Crystal meth I'm starting with because the turnover rate is a lot faster and the profit margin is a lot wider, and his growth means my growth, of course.
Oh, there you go. Yep. Yep. No problem.
Steve is going to pay back Mr. M by sharing the meth with Harley, his business partner. But Steve has to transport the dope uptown. And that makes him an easy target in Vancouver's deadly turf war.
Let's begin in Surrey at this hour, where a major police operation is underway. Someone has been shot and killed.
Gunshots continue to ring out in the Vancouver suburbs.
They have never, in my recent memory, have had this many brazen, daylight-style shootings within such a short period of time. They just do what they see on the movies, and then out there shooting a gun out the window of a moving car, and those bullets are going all over the place. A lot of the, let's call them victims, are not cooperative whatsoever with themselves.
As the casualties
You
rise,
can't fucking
cops
blame them.
make an arrest.
An armored vehicle and heavily armed officers swept into the Surrey neighborhood around noon. Residents say they entered this house and one person was taken into custody.
A few weeks after fleeing the scene of a crime, the driver of the missing white SUV is charged with trafficking and possession of a controlled substance.
Police issued a press release saying 2 people had been arrested. The search warrants were executed by more than 50 officers.
It turns out to be the same suspect that Constable Jordan was forced to let go a couple of weeks ago.
The job that we perform here, I feel we're effective. The drug trade is disrupted.
One dealer's loss is another's gain.
Hello. Just hold on a few minutes and I'll have something come to you. Quarter, say 2:20. Can you handle that? Okay, confirm, get back to me, okay? Because I got another line going right now. Hey, what do you need? About 20 minutes, okay? That good? Okay, thanks. Hello. What's up?
Mr. M has a new stash house up and running, and business is booming.
It's 2.5 ounces of crystal meth, and it's been an hour and 20 minutes.
He's recruited a new dial-a-dope crew.
You're gonna be out there at 5, okay? So you gotta get ready. Yeah. He's a good earner. He's smart. He knows what to do. You know where to go in.
Take about an hour and a half. The demand is pretty high out there. I'll be able to take that money, put it in my pocket, and make more starts. Get it done right away, and get back as fast as possible, and then always pay your bill in full, and then we're on to the next.
Gotta get back there quick, buddy. Right? You know what I mean? Hurry.
It's always going to be
right. There's always going to be faster, quicker, faster, sooner.
His runner hits the streets with 2 grams of meth.
He's walked out to start chopping and dicing it up into smaller packages where he's going to make 1 gram, 10 points, into probably 12, and make $120 when he owes me 45.
He expects the new crew to put in the hours.
For the next week and a half, 2 weeks, I'll work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
2 different people to me. Should be 50, 25. Between midnight and 4 in the morning, I should move a quarter pound. Hello? No cuffs. Come on. One of your friends has to have cash.
Mr. M is getting so many calls, he has no time for people begging for credit. And he keeps his new guys on a tight leash.
Plain, simple rules, right? Don't rat, don't talk about people's business, don't talk to the cops. It's a unit. My guys trust me and I trust them. That's more deliveries. And that pretty well might have to reload. Right? Yeah, that's pretty well it. I'm done.
By early morning, Mr. M is sold out of product. And with his crew making deliveries, he's on his way to re-up.
We have locked in a block for ourselves.
He's rebuilt his drug operation. Now he's getting rival dealers to drop their guns, as much as getting users to pick up their phones.
When someone steps across the line, sells drugs on our street, I say, listen, we're not going to deal with this. Give them a warning last time, right? And they've come to me and said the same thing and asked me to talk to one of my guys, right? And it's a mutual respect between the 2 of us that keeps the violence down and away from our work areas. There has to be some sense of rule, right? To keep sanity and keep the peace.
After all, even jungle's got laws.
The force from which the sun draws its power has been loosed, the like of which has never been seen on this earth. 3, 2, 1, fire!
In 1945, America unleashes the horrifying power of the atomic bomb, devastating the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Hiroshima.
The world will never be the same again. A year later, the U.S. military begins a series of nuclear tests in one of the most remote places on the planet. Nearly 5,000 miles from the west coast of America, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, Bikini Atoll. Part of the Marshall Archipelago, Bikini is a circle of 26 tiny islands around a lagoon 23 miles across, fringed with coral reefs that cling to the rim of an ancient volcanic crater.
Today, Bikini Atoll is one of the most beautiful places in the world. It's peaceful, it's tropical, it's quiet. But here's also the location of some of the most violent actions that ever took place.
Between Between 1946 and 1954, 80 million tons of explosive nuclear power rocked Bikini in a series of deadly experiments. Left behind are the remains of over a dozen wrecks, battleships, submarines, and even an aircraft carrier. Ghost ships that bear the scars and hide the secrets of the world's most
ancient architecture. Of course you didn't get the part where I said ancient, you fucking nigger. Ancient architecture, cocksucking nigger. Oh, we're gonna have to do this, guys.
July 2007. Satellite images capture an unusual large structure on the White House grounds, just south of the West Wing.
Nobody ever saw it being built. It just appeared one day.
I remember I thought it was a shed.
But when we saw it adjacent to the West Wing, we thought, well, I wonder what this is all about.
According to the White House, it was nothing more than utilities upgrades. But over the next 5 years, the mystery would only deepen.
This massive infrastructural project was the perfect cover.
What's inside or beneath that white box may just be the tip of the iceberg, holding clues to a bigger mystery that's been evolving for 200 years.
It is at least 6 stories deep, in excess of 100,000 square foot.
For the first time, a group of DC insiders, reporters, and engineers will uncover the secrets that lie beneath the most mysterious 18 acres in the world. (1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C.) The world's most famous address. The home and office of every president for the last 200 years.
I would argue it's the most important home in America, but it's also very much a living house that physically bears the marks of all of its residents.
The White House is a powerful symbol of a set of ideals and a set of promises that inspire people to get up every day and try to imagine the possibility of democracy and equality.
Yet below the ceremonial rose garden, under the Oval Office, beneath its shiny white facade, lies a mystery. One this white box may be hiding from the public.
Those of us who work at the White House, we see things. But let's face it, presidents don't like us peering behind the curtain.
But as an Associated Press White House correspondent in 2007, it was Mark Smith's job to ask the tough questions.
Everything at the White House is secret. But even on standard, this project was pretty hush-hush. It was a 2-story structure. It had corrugated metal on the outside, doors and vents on the side, and some vents in the ceiling. We're told that, yes, there is continuing construction going on. The presumption was that this structure was a staging area for this construction.
Over the previous year, there had been significant work done around the West Wing, including a total overhaul of the Situation Room. A high-tech, highly secured command and control center located in the basement, just beneath the Oval Office in the West Wing.
The Situation Room was created in 1961 by Jack Kennedy. I mean, it was basically a wood-paneled room where there was a long conference table and there were a couple of other offices, but, you know, over the years it really showed its age.
Huge technology overhauls were made to the Situation Room. That is a very special access room where the president and the president's advisors gather to talk about some of the gravest issues.
But by late 2007, that project was supposed to be complete.
Now, this is one of those instances where if you don't have a renovation project going on, and then all of a sudden a structure just sort of pops up, immediately, people are going to wonder, well, what is that structure? What is it doing? And the White House will only give so much information.
I've been covering the White House for 4 decades. My experience is they may tell you something that is technically absolutely true, but there's an untold story. There's something else that they didn't mention.
For the next 2 years, as one president moves out and another moves in, the white box continues to sit along the West Wing. Then in 2010, the plot thickens again. Almost overnight, a large fence goes up around the West Wing.
We walk in one morning and there's this big green plywood fence, and construction equipment comes in and they start digging in front of the West Wing. There was heavy construction equipment going at all hours of the day and sometimes into the night.
The reporters can see concrete, steel beams. Certainly, there seems to be more going down.
To veteran engineer and bunker builder Brian Camden, these photos taken by the press corps point to something big.
Well, they have sheeted this excavation, which when you're going to excavate down deep, typically will drive metal sheets continuously around the outside of the excavation to give your crews room to work in there. These are definitely a picture of an excavation where they have driven sheet piling.
The new fence not only obscures the view of the West Wing, it also blocks access to the White House driveway.
To begin with, our questions were pretty basic and logistical. How long is the White House going to have to work around this very disruptive state of affairs?
Before you leave, can you tell us what they're really digging up out there? North Lawn.
I told you, they're moving the monument. It's they're going to do it at night. Everyone's going to look up and go, where'd that thing go? And they'll look behind them. And
Do you know what they are? Do you even know?
I haven't asked. Maybe it is a monument.
A mystery outside the White House that keeps on growing.
The General Services Administration says
Campus Riverside Drive was once lined with palatial mansions, cliffside castles, and manors nestled in an idyllic setting. But what happened? Who built these stunning residences, and where did they go? Hi everyone, Ken here. Today we are uncovering Riverside's lost mansions. Hit that subscribe button and let's dive into an extra-long episode of This House. Riverside Drive, one of Manhattan's most scenic boulevards, owes its inception to a visionary idea from the mid-19th century. In 1865, Central Park Commissioner William R. Martin proposed creating a park along the Hudson River, a concept that gained momentum under the leadership of Commissioner Andrew Haswell Green. By 1873, the renowned landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted, celebrated for his work on Central Park, was brought in to design both Riverside Park and the adjoining avenue. Olmsted's approach to Riverside Drive was both innovative and sensitive to the natural landscape. Instead of a straight boulevard, he envisioned a curving road that harmonized with the area's natural topography, reducing the need for extensive retaining walls and preserving the natural beauty where the cliffs met with the water. Initially named Riverside Avenue, this 100-foot wide thoroughfare featured tree-lined paths for pedestrians and horses, offering a serene escape from the urban hustle and bustle. Olmsted's vision was further refined by his frequent collaborator Calvert Vaux. Together, they introduced picturesque elements to enhance the scenic quality of the drive. Key to their design were the overpasses at 79th and 96th Streets, which ensured seamless connectivity with maintaining the landscape's aesthetic integrity. The construction of Riverside Drive was not without its challenges. The area's rugged terrain required meticulous planning and execution. By 1876, Olmsted had adapted his plans to accommodate a more practical paved road, though he departed the project the following year. Despite this, other designers and engineers carried on his principles, ensuring the drive remained true to his vision. When Riverside Drive officially opened in 1880, it quickly became a favorite route for pedestrians, cyclists, and automobile enthusiasts, but perhaps most notably, it became known for its mansions. The New York Times once said, "In architectural design, richness of decoration, and completeness of details, this structure is calculated to surpass in luxury and magnificence any city home in America, if not the entire world." This quote was describing the residence of Charles Schwab. He was born into poverty and started off as a grocery store clerk before becoming a laborer at a Carnegie steel mill. He quickly rose through the ranks with a natural-born talent for leadership and innovation, and by adulthood, he had become president of U.S. Steel and had amassed a fortune to rival the wealthiest barons of industry. Schwab set out to build a modern home equipped with groundbreaking technology on a scale that would dwarf the mansions along Fifth Avenue. He purchased a lot on Riverside Drive between 73rd Street and 74th Street, where he would build his modern chateau. Were replaced with self-service.
What? This house? Oh. Venice architecture. Oh, this shit right here is just so fucking fascinating.
The year is 452. The Roman Empire is on the brink of collapse, and the Huns have just launched their attack on northern Italy. Several cities are completely destroyed, forcing the locals to go on the run. They head for a lagoon just off the coast and take refuge on several small islands, a decision that would no doubt save their lives. Against all odds, this small civilization eventually went on to build one of the most impressive feats of engineering the world has ever seen: Venice. Despite having no roads, no land, and no fresh water, the Venetians managed to turn a muddy swamp into the most powerful and wealthiest city of its time. This unique layout of canals and bridges woven through hundreds of islands made Venice incredibly accessible, and it became the epicenter of all business. We modeled the entire thing to show you what's going on beneath the surface and how its clever design and medieval engineering allowed it to take over the world. When the first refugees arrived to start their new lives on the islands, they had the worst possible surface to build on. The small, marshy islands were made of an incredibly soft clay, which would barely hold the weight of a human, let alone an entire city. To create stable foundations for building
packing them really close together, it compressed the surrounding clay, pushing out the water and making it much stronger. Once the piles were firmly in the ground, the tops were cut off and wooden planks were laid on top to spread the load. Special blocks of Istrian stone were then placed to raise the foundations above the water. This design was a stroke of genius, as the wooden piles were sealed away from the air, making it impossible for them to rot. To this day, almost all of the original piles are in great condition and are still holding up the city. Once the foundation had been properly laid down, the buildings themselves were built. Venetians started off using wood for their houses, but after numerous fires, they switched to brick. To keep the buildings as lightweight as possible, they had to be no more than 3 stories high. Lime mortar had to be used instead of cement because it was flexible and would allow the entire building to flex as the ground beneath slowly moved. The inner walls were built in a crisscross pattern that would also flex like a trellis. The facade walls, which had large windows and elegant style designs, made them much heavier, and so in order to stop them from falling over, they were pinned into the floor using iron rods, keeping the entire building together. This method of building worked well for the Venetians, and soon several islands around the lagoon were established in this way. Instead of expanding outwards like most cities, these islands expanded into each other. At first, boats were the only way to cross between the islands, but eventually the islands were closer together, and they could be crossed by simply wading through the shallow water on a horse. The next step in Venice's evolution would of course be connecting the islands. Surprisingly, there were no bridges for the first 500 years of Venice's existence. But as the population increased and business started to ramp up, there needed to be an easier way to reach Rialto, the financial center of Venice. And so, the Doge of Venice set up a prize for each engineer that could design the best bridge. He announced this by putting up displayed posters all around the city. Just kidding. Displate, today's sponsor, makes awesome metal posters that can be easily mounted using their custom magnet mounting system. They have over 2 million pieces of artwork available, whether it's a beautiful Venice painting or an official poster from collaborators like NASA, Star Wars, Call of Duty, or Netflix. My personal favorites are this Venice poster and this awesome James Webb design. With their magnet mounting system, you can mount a displate in just Netflix. From pieces of artwork available, whether it's a beautiful Venice painting or an official poster from collaborators like NASA, Star Wars, Call of Duty, or Netflix. My personal favorites and mountings, and without damaging your walls. Displate now offers these new texture posters, which bring the artwork to life with awesome 3D textures shaped into the metal itself. This premium finish is already available on hundreds of top-selling displates. Displate offers ultra-fast shipping, and your metal poster should be at your door in just 4 to 5 days. Start your collection today and visit displate.com/primalspace or use code primalspace. In order to turn Venice from a collection of islands into a bustling city, bridges had to be built. The first attempt was a simple pontoon bridge that joined the 2 largest sections of Venice together, and crucially, provided quick access to the Rialto area. The bridge was later upgraded to a wooden bridge, which eventually burned down and collapsed before it was finally replaced by a much stronger stone bridge. To build it, over 12,000 timber piles were driven into the banks of the canal, and 10,000 tons of stone were built on top to form the bridge. To this day, the bridge still stands, and it serves as the main artery in the center of Venice. After this, stone bridges started to pop up everywhere, turning Venice into a compact city made up entirely of canals instead of roads. This gave Venice a unique advantage, since the canals allowed goods and traffic to flow quickly through every part of the city. The messy overlap of pedestrians and horse-drawn traffic didn't exist in Venice, since the walkways and canals were completely separated. Yet people could transition between the two effortlessly without slowing down. By now, the city had become the most powerful and richest city in Europe. Everything being bought and sold went through Venice, and the Venetians were making enormous amounts of money. But as business increased, so did the population, and the demand for fresh water was out of control. Despite being surrounded by water, Venice couldn't use any of it, since
Venice, one of the world's most beautiful cities, was born of an audacious idea: to build a city on the water.
Yeah, I love that shit. Holy shit, it's a 52-minute. Oh, hell yeah. How deep is the water in Venice? You fucking niggers. How deep is the water in Venice? Cocksucking cunt. 5 to 6.5 feet. God damn. What? The Grand Canal, which runs through the heart of Venice, is deeper than the other. Oh, 16 feet. A little bit too cruel. Songs. I'm a slit that song's throat.
More than 1,500 years ago, and has been withstanding attacks from the sea ever since. The water's constant threat is also the fount of the city's fortune and global renown.
The building of Venice is a miracle, really, when we understand how it's done and what it stands on and how it's managed to stand the test of time over all of these centuries.
Venice represents the ability to live in an impossible situation.
The Venetians have always been amazingly adaptable to change, coming up with one ingenious solution after another for living on the water. Everyone is fascinated by Venice because it's like an open-air lab.
How did such an unlikely architectural masterpiece come
Open Water, you mean? Isn't that a movie, Open Water?
Pioneering techniques did the Venetians develop to bring sophisticated beauty from marshland mud?
Not many people know that Venice is built on millions of piles.
Though Venice has endured over the centuries, it's now locked in a race for survival against time and tide. What new challenges will the floating city face as the climate changes? And what extraordinary measures have the Venetians already taken to save their city?
Venice faces extraordinary challenges now and in the future, particularly from climate change and sea level rise.
Now, through spectacular locations, insights, and computer-generated images, you're about to plumb the depths of Venetian history to discover the secrets of the construction and conservation of this irreplaceable city.
I want my eye color, the gloss of this bluish, purplish, orange water off. I love to have eye color like that.
Venice, the jewel of the Adriatic. Once the hub of the largest maritime empire of the day, it has now become an object of admiration for more than 30 million tourists each year. The history of Venice, which is located in Italy at the northernmost tip of the Adriatic Sea, is closely linked to that of its lagoon. A 550 square kilometer natural basin separated from the sea by vast rows of dunes with 3 openings. The water from the sea flows in and out of this gigantic reservoir through these gaps once every 6 hours according to the tides. In this city, unlike any other, the local population has always lived with the water. The city even resembles a large fish from up close. Over the centuries, Venice grew to become an artificial archipelago composed of 118 small islands separated by 176 canals, forming a network of nearly 50 kilometers of waterways. The Grand Canal is the longest, most beautiful, and most famous in Venice.
The Grand Canal is Venice's main thoroughfare, the largest waterway in the city. its overall shape.
The islands in the agglomeration are connected by more than 400 bridges. Unsurprisingly, Venice has more bridges than any other city in the world. But the Venice we admire today has little in common with the way it originally looked. 1600 years ago, this was nothing but a marshy lagoon.
Venice was born in an exceptional environment. Not like other cities, it was created in the middle of a lagoon on a series of islands. So it's a swampy and difficult environment to build a city, not at all a hospitable place to try and build the city that will become one of the great cities of history.
So why did the future Venetians decide to settle in such a hostile environment? To find out, we have to go back to the beginning. In the 2nd century, just 11 kilometers from Venice's current location, the port of Altinum prospered under Roman domination. But in the 5th century, Attila and his Huns took over Central Europe. 100 years later, the Slavs descended upon Eastern Europe and the Lombards reached the Po Valley. The local people were terrified.
I'm gonna fucking slit your goddamn throat. Get over here, nigger.
They had no choice but
You fucking cock-sucking faggot. Pussy ass cunt.
The lagoon offered shelter, especially against invaders on horseback, so it was a source of protection.
It offered protection, but it also posed a problem. How to build houses in a marsh? They had to start by reclaiming land from the water. The first Venetians found areas with several pieces of land sticking out of the water in close proximity to one another and drove wooden piles into the clay to mark the land they intended to build on. Then they evacuated the water using buckets. Once everything was dry, they filled in the hole to create a piece of flat, buildable land.
The story of Venice is that of the creation of a city out of nothing. They were building in many places at once, both within the city, where they were working on the canals and marshes, and also outside the urbanized area, because they were gradually taking back more and more land from the water. The city limits were constantly being redefined.
Jesus Christ.
It was a very impressive collective project that lasted for centuries. They created the city and the land.
This ingenious technique was used to build the entirety of Venice. It's the foundation of the whole city.
Oh shit.
Today, the amount of land that has been taken back from the lagoon is more than 80%. At first, the Venetians built their houses out of wood, a technique that quickly proved to have its drawbacks, as the city was rigorously ravaged by fire. So they decided to build out of stone. Yet this choice of building material came with its own problems.
Building with stone in a place like Venice is really challenging because it's essentially building on mud and water and swampy land.
Water.
So they have to be quite ingenious
Blood to
about
water.
how they build, especially once they start using heavier materials like stone.
In order to keep their city above the waterline, the builders were constantly experimenting with new techniques. The muddy terrain where the first houses were built was too soft for stone structures, so they had to reach a layer where the soil would be strong enough to build on. It was then that they discovered Caranto, an ancient layer of clay between 3 and 9 meters below the surface.
Puttana. Bastardo.
Soil was stable enough for them to construct
I learned how to cuss in Italiano from Ubisoft video games.
It was a huge discovery for the builders of Venice.
famous Caranto.
Carroto,
A layer of
carroto,
sturdy clay
carroto.
and hard sand that offered sufficient support for them to start laying the foundations for our houses and palaces.
From that moment on, medieval engineers started refining different building methods depending on how deep the Caranto was and how heavy the would be. The first step was to dry out the zone they wanted to build on. The builders started by creating a
Go on when I close my eyes.
provisional structures known as cofferdams, a cassette in Italian, composed of 2 rows of piles driven into the soil. The space between the piles was filled in with mud to make the temporary construction impermeable. Next, they got to work on the foundations. In most cases, if the Caranto was 3 meters deep or less, the builders would start by placing a few rows
I
of
should have just said, fuck this real life shit. Let's build in Minecraft.
walls. For particularly heavy buildings, however, the Venetians placed wooden piles across the whole footprint of the future building, thus creating a solid surface to build upon. The piles were placed very close together in concentric circles, from the exterior to the center of the surface that needed to be consolidated. This latter technique was used to build clock towers, which are very tall and extremely
God
heavy.
damn you. Get over there, motherfucker. Motherfucker.
Was very hard work. We
I love
calculated
that.
they needed 36 piles for a single square meter.
What?
Meter. 36 piles for a single square meter.
The piles measured 2 to 3 meters high and 20 centimeters across, and were carved into a point at the end to make them easier to drive into the soil. Burying the pali was a very delicate operation because a single wrong move could damage the Caranto.
The Caranto.
The process required delicacy and patience and was reserved for specialized workers.
I feel like I'm going the wrong fucking way.
It was a very
Arrivederci.
in which
Puttana bastardo.
onto a pole and use a very heavy drop hammer to hit the upper part of the pile with a lot of force until it was driven down to the legendary Caranto.
Then, in both techniques, the piles would be covered with a floor, the zatterone, composed of 2 successive layers of crisscrossed planks.
I love that.
Which distributed the load of the future building. Finally, the floorboards were covered with layers of istrian stone, a compact rock with low porosity, making it perfectly suited to the corrosive, brackish water of the lagoon. So much so that the thickness of these layers was calculated based on the height of the tides. These stone foundations were impermeable, keeping the Venetians dry. The foundation was finally laid.
Oh, look at this shit. This is so cool.
The technique used to lay foundations had an effect on the geography of the city. Once the piles were put in place, they remained there forever, not only because of the high cost of such an operation, but also for another very unique reason.
Even if a building was completely destroyed, the foundations remain because they're protected by the mud around them, meaning they don't deteriorate or lose any of their substance.
I love the way this game's become. Finally, God damn it.
When it's exposed to the air.
Whenever renovations are necessary, all attempts are made to leave the foundations in place without touching them.
Holy shit.
These techniques, which were revolutionary at the time, have survived through the centuries. Once the foundations were laid, construction could begin on the various buildings and residences. In Venice, building was highly regulated to adapt to the constraints of the environment. In order to relieve the load on the piles, buildings were designed to be as light as possible. Every detail mattered. Instead of using heavy Istrian stone for the walls, the builders chose to use brick, a material that is simultaneously sturdy, lightweight, and resistant to fire, which they then covered with a coating.
Venice is not so much a
Venezia.
as it is a city of bricks. Why? Because bricks cost less and could be produced on site, as well as being lightweight. Given the technical constraints of building in Venice, the weight of the building material was of considerable importance.
In the interest of keeping things lightweight, Venetian houses have never been built very high, rarely surpassing 3 stories. Finally, the palace facades, often decorated with delicate columns, were pierced with large windows. In its unique city, the weight restrictions inspired a unique architectural style, one that's elegant and reminiscent of lace, which came to be known as the typical Venetian style. But all of these techniques weren't enough to overcome yet another challenge. The muddy soil in the lagoons prone to shifting. How could they ensure the buildings would be able to withstand movement in the terrain without collapsing? The builders of the time came up with another brilliant, innovative solution to this non-inconsiderable problem, giving the buildings themselves the ability to shift and move. For example, they used lime rather than cement when laying their brick walls. Lime acts as an effective mortar while remaining flexible. The dividing walls of doors also had to be able to withstand this movement. The Venetian engineers came up with a fantastic plan. Building dividing walls that could adapt to the movement of the terrain.
One of the most important structures, maybe the most famous Venetian invention, they're separating structures, dividing walls, made of wooden planks. The planks were placed vertically to hold the floor in place. Then, on either side of the vertical planks, they nailed diagonal planks into place. Then the whole structure was covered in plaster. This structure was found throughout the house. Was almost like a trellis.
This technique makes the partition walls flexible and prevents houses from collapsing. The plaster covering
Fucking
the walls
bitch.
only needs to be redone
Get over
from
there,
time to time.
goddamn.
The Venetians were pioneers in this domain. Trellis structures such as these didn't become common until the Industrial Revolution nearly 500 years later. Finally, to prevent the building from tearing apart and to reinforce the structure even more, the floors were attached to the walls using long metallic rods that can flex and move at will.
The risk for any building is that its weight could pull it off balance, causing a collapse. Especially for buildings that have a lot of decoration on their facades, such as statues, for example, which obviously pull the building towards the exterior. Therefore, to minimize that imbalance, They used a series of iron tabs to attach the load-bearing walls to the floors on every story, all the way up to the attic. You can see them from the outside in areas where the plaster has fallen off. You can see blocks of white stone. That's where the iron bars that go all the way through the floor are attached.
Finally, to cover the floors, they needed something that would be able to move with the building. The Venetians perfected a unique material known as terrazzo, a mix of terracotta and lime combined with fragments of mirror, pearl, or glass.
Holy shit, the fog is big time.
Terrazzo is another typically Venetian invention. It's undoubtedly the most interesting element of any house because it absorbs the movement of the terrain. That movement creates micro fissures, but they remain very discreet.
Flexible, elastic, and adaptable, Venetian buildings are almost alive, changing shape as the soil shifts beneath them. Today the effects are apparent. Balconies have been deformed, and cracks have appeared in the facades of certain buildings. Yet not a single Venetian palace has ever collapsed. They can still be admired throughout the city today. Despite the consistency in architectural style, the overall effect is far from repetitive. Variations in height, color, and style create many different atmospheres. This can be observed in the facades of the palaces along
Dude,
the
I
Grand
love
Canal,
this shit.
which echo its shape. Once the rules had been set and the building techniques perfected, the city was ready to grow. But there was also another field in which Venice surpassed all other cities.
Fucking love this.
To consolidate its power.
God damn it.
Building.
Shit building. I'm not gonna build shit. He's building with his own feces. Fucking nasty shit. No pun intended. God damn it.
This advantage enabled La Serenissima to set off to conquer the seas with their highly advanced fleet. The city built the arsenal very early on.
The puto has fleas?
The arsenal is a formidable shipyard, as well as a depot where raw materials were stored. It was created early on, just like in Geneva, which was Venice's rival in the late 12th century.
Hidden behind the red brick walls, this nearly 25-hectare complex was the largest factory in the world in the 16th century, employing nearly
Oh, dude, this would be a cool place to fucking put a bed.
The Venetian fleet was exceptional. It is really the backbone of Venetian power because this provides the ships that they need, both for commercial shipping and then also for war, and particularly as they expand to become a great empire. They're very innovative in their shipbuilding. They built some of the most technologically speaking advanced ships in the world at the time.
They also innovated when it came to their methods of construction. For the first time in the world, the frames of the ships were moved along a production line in a very precise order, just like in factories today. In the dry dock, the shipwrights would start by building the frame, then applying the wooden planks to the outside. As soon as it was closed, it was moved from one place to the other.
I gotta play that game though. Gotta get me a PS4.
There was no waiting. It was almost like an assembly line. Like the kinds of assembly lines that cars are built today.
At the peak of the Arsenal's production, the workers could build nearly 1 galley per day, which was a remarkable feat at the time. Venice was the proud owner of an extraordinary fleet, making it the first colonial empire in one of the most powerful cities in the medieval world.
They had a fleet that was both military and commercial in nature. It is also important to note that the commercial expansion of Venice was supported and accompanied by a very aggressive policy. This is to say that the war fleet also explained and promoted the rise of the Venetian economy.
Damn, it's goddamn dark.
That's an understatement. In the year 1400, the average income for a resident of Venice was 15 times that of London or Madrid. This wealth was translated into the city itself. One project was particularly important to them, that of building a bridge connecting the two banks of the Grand Canal, which turned out to be much more difficult than they expected. The Grand Canal is as wide as 60 meters in places, a seemingly impossible span, yet connecting the commercial district of the Rialto to the political and religious district of St. Mark's was becoming increasingly important. Architects have been trying to build a solid bridge for centuries, but they all failed, one after another. The first floating wooden bridge wasn't built on the Grand Canal until 1181. We don't know how it was destroyed, but subsequent bridges all met with the same fate. In 1310, the new bridge, which included a section that could be raised to let sailboats pass, was burned down during a protest. It was restored, then collapsed in 1444 and again in 1524 due to excessive traffic.
In the 16th century, once the wooden bridge collapsed yet another time, the Venetians decided they need to build a stone bridge. The architect who wins the commission is called Antonio da Ponte. Ponte actually means bridge, and his design, which even though it was quite criticised at the time, was the one that was chosen and is actually the one that stood the test of time because the bridge is still standing today, even the quality of people that go across it every day.
The structure he had in mind was composed of a single arch of Istrian stone more than 28 meters long, weighing nearly 9,000 tons, almost as much as the Eiffel Tower, which was very heavy for the muddy soil of the lagoon. To counterbalance the lateral force of the arch, to prevent it from collapsing, 6,000 wooden piles were put in place on either side at 3 levels. A very original solution.
He designed a foundation with wooden piles on multiple levels. There were 3 steps. One going down, one in the middle, and one supports the horizontal weight of the bridge. The structure would have collapsed if all the piles had been placed at the same level. But the architect came up with this idea of creating a staircase.
I need to get some stone. Smooth stone. I'm building some pillars.
And covered with 2 rows of horizontally placed stones. After 3 years of construction, the bridge was finally inaugurated in 1591, becoming one of the most iconic symbols of Venice. It's a remarkable feat of engineering, given the marshy environment.
design is a wonder of engineering. It was all about creating a bridge that must remain standing.
The Rialto Bridge was just one
Fucking
of the many
beautiful,
constructions
genius.
undertaken in La Serenissima. From the 13th century on, the Venetians were determined to make their city into the New York of the Middle Ages. To borrow a quote from the famous French architect Le Corbusier, St. Mark's Square became the embodiment of Venice's power.
The political and religious functions of the city of Venice are really concentrated in Piazza San Marco or St. Mark's Square, and this is as far back as the 8th or 9th century when they start building some of the most important political and religious buildings in that square.
The seat of the city's political power was founded in the Doge's palace. It resided primarily with the Doge, the leader of the Republic of Venice. The first iteration of the palace was built in the 9th century, but the building as we know it today, a stunning example of Gothic architecture, is a result of numerous reconstructions and expansions that took place from the 13th century on. The bulk of religious activity took place in the building next door.
The Basilica of San Marco was originally the building to be the most important church in Venice. It was constructed originally for around the 9th century after the relics of St. Mark had been stolen by Venetian merchants from Alexandria in Egypt. And it was considered that they needed to build an important church to house these relics because St. Mark was one of the 4 evangelists, and his relics really brought this new, great, important religious power to Venice as well.
God damn
As is
you.
often the case in Venice, the building we know and admire today has been rebuilt and embellished many times. Unlike the Doge's palace, however, the shape of the church has not changed. It's shaped like a Greek cross, composed of 4 equal domes, each one topped with a cupola, with another dome in the center. It's one of the very few Byzantine churches found in the West. The dimensions of the original building were already very impressive, at 76.5 meters long and 62.6 meters wide, which is huge for Venice. But from the 13th century on, the Doge's palace was constantly being expanded, and it eventually dominated the basilica. So the architects started looking for a way to elevate the domes without adding weight to the building.
They built large wooden roofs that they made considerably higher, making the domes visible once again despite the presence of the new Doge's palace, which had probably started to hide them.
The wooden superstructures were inspired by shipbuilding techniques.
Shipbuilding techniques. Porco! They're building poop.
The addition of an inner framework
What the
reinforced
fuck,
the
dude?
structures and gave them greater stability once the planking, the pieces of wood traditionally used on the outside of a ship's hull, or in this case the roofs, was nailed onto the rest. Finally, the beams were covered with thin lead plates.
What makes these structures so complex is how intricately the various elements fit together. Even when we compare them to how ships are built, it's hard to say which elements are tension bars, which are compression bars, because it depends on external criteria. For example, the wind can change the behavior of internal structures by transforming compression bars into tension bars. It's exactly the same for wooden ships. There were churches or buildings that existed at the time that could have been used as an example. The construction of the 5 domes of St. Mark's Basilica represented a brand new innovation on the part of the carpenters, who, as they obviously had experience in shipbuilding, had the necessary skills to carry out such a project.
Thanks to this feat of engineering, the domes of the basilica can still be seen from afar as you approach St. Mark's Square from the water. Throughout the medieval and Renaissance eras, the center of the city was constantly being transformed, turning it into the architectural masterpiece we admire today.
I had to start making
But
these
it was
fruits.
actually the entire city that was being embellished and expanded upon. By the 1500s, Venice had a population of nearly 170,000 people, almost 3 times its population today. It was the most populous city in Europe at the time. The Queen of the Adriatic was at the height of its power. Nevertheless, this population increase made one of Venice's biggest problems even more urgent. Despite being surrounded by salt water, Venice has always been short on fresh water.
Most cities, regardless of their size, are built in close proximity to a source of drinking water. Whether it be a river, lake, or well, where water can be drawn from. Water for drinking, cooking, and building. There was nothing like that in Venice. Obviously, there are rivers feeding into the lagoon, but once they get there, they're contaminated by seawater, making the water unusable. That's why they came up with the extraordinary invention known as the Venetian well. They shouldn't really be called that, because they're not actually wells, technically speaking.
In fact, these so-called wells are actually large underground chambers. They consist of a vast cistern 5 to 12 meters across, coated with several layers of clay to make them impermeable. Inside each tank, the Venetian well diggers spread a layer of pebbles, atop which they built a cylindrical conduit made of bricks. Then they filled the tank with a thick layer of fine sand. On the surface, the soil was hollowed out slightly to direct rainwater into stone drains. From there, the water was carried into pipes, known as cassoni, that released the water into the soil. It would be slowly filtered by the sand before
Going to sleep. We'll continue this when I wake up.
soaking into the brick conduit in accordance with the principle of communicating vessels. This conduit could then be used as a normal well.
I think what I find most striking about the history of Venice is their ingenuity and their ability to adapt, using limited technical means to the environment in order to survive. How they got their water is undoubtedly one of the most remarkable examples, because there was no water available, yet they were still able to provide water for a city that had as many as 170,000 people living in it, which is considerable.
Nearly
Felt like being
600 of
Chinese.
these innovative rainwater cisterns were put in place throughout the city, on public squares, and even in the interior courtyards of some of the richest residences. They were essential to the inhabitants' survival and remained in use until the end of the 19th century. Over the course of its history, the Venetians managed to overcome numerous obstacles related to their environment. But at the end of the Middle Ages, the lagoon was at risk of disappearing. In the 15th century, they started taking drastic measures to save their city.
Venice was particularly fortunate because, after being built and becoming a very important city, it was also governed very well over the centuries. The Venetian government preserved not only the city, but also the lagoon, because it was an important natural resource for Venice. It was used for fishing, farming, sailing, and more.
One issue became especially critical: the potential drying out of the lagoon.
The lagoon originally had a number of rivers flowing into it, most of which flow down from the pre-Alps into the basin of the lagoons. All those waterways carried alluvium with them, and the problem with alluvium is that it blocked the lagoon basin by creating deposits
Get the
deposits in
fuck
sand,
over there.
sediment, and more, thus preventing the water from circulating.
For the Venetians, having 8 feet above water was unimaginable. They realized that to save their lagoon, they would have to undertake some very
We gotta get
ambitious
some
constructions.
cobblestone. I know cobblestone's around here somewhere.
From the 16th century until the end of the 17th century,
There we fucking go.
they worked very hard to change the course of nearby waterways. These were massive jobs in terms of the methods, technology, and labor force that were required. Nearly all of the waterways leading to the lagoon were rerouted to the sea.
Come with me, Bahala, to the sea of love. I won't tell you how much I love you.
Venice's fate is still inextricably linked with its environment today. But now it's facing a different threat: rising water levels. Over the last few decades, the problem has accelerated, all while the city continues to sink. According to a report published by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in 2019,
I'm going to sleep, guys. I need to go.
could disappear by the end of the century.
I'm gonna fucking watch that shit, because that just made me want to build some of that shit in Minecraft. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Let me know what you want me to build. I'll try it. Peace out. Thank you for watching. See ya. Love you, Mom. Peace. Love you, sis. Love you, sis.